Carol, I see you're up and working today.
All right, let's get this party started. Gonna pray us in with my hands on my heart. That breath of love and gratitude. So grateful for this opportunity to come together, to be the two or more gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful for our willingness to have open hearts and open minds, our desire to shine the light on any and all blocks to love, to watch those dissolve and resolve back to the nothingness from which they came. We're grateful for the love and support that we get to share here in this group. And we're grateful for all of our earthly and heavenly helpers that join us and support us during our conversations, and join and support and bless all those who may listen later. We're grateful for this willingness to be the love of our own lives, and that we get to share that love with everyone because we're one with them. In grace and gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen. So we're in chapter 22, section 6, the light of the holy relationship. And I'm going to start us with paragraph 3, because it felt like he was explaining or talking to the what Jennifer calls the truly helpful prayer. It's the I am here to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent him who sent me. So that's what it spoke to me. Be not disturbed at all to think how he can change the role of means and end so easily in what God loves and would have free forever. But be you rather grateful that you can be the means to serve his end. This is the only service that leads to freedom. To serve this end, the body must be perceived as sinless, because the goal is sinlessness. The lack of contradiction makes the soft transition from means to end as easy as the shift from hate to gratitude before forgiving eyes. You will be sanctified by one another, using your bodies only to serve the sinless. It will be impossible for you to hate what serves whom you would heal. So it's about service, being of service. And that always feels like, it's like patting myself on the back. It's like acknowledging that I also am that child of God that is worthy of his love. And when I'm not feeling that way, one of the ways that I can bring myself there is to be grateful that I can be of service. And being of service brings me back into my loving heart and reminds me of who I truly am. So that's where I'm starting us. Who else would like to share? Or has a question or comment? Feel free to unmute yourself and speak. Go ahead, Leslie.
Hello, everyone. This was a long read, but it was pretty good. I hope I can remember what my question was. This is in paragraph 8. You will, put my reading glasses on. You will see your value through your brother's eyes, and each one is released as he beholds his savior in place of the attacker who he thought was there. Through this releasing is the world released. This is your part in bringing peace. For you have asked, what is your function here, and have been answered. But then I felt like, okay, does he give us the answer and I missed it? I was like, okay, what's the answer? And then down to sentence 10, just nor, let's see. I'll go up a little bit to 7. Accept this one and serve it willingly. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to continue. Seek not to change it, nor to substitute another goal. This one was given you, and only this. Accept this one and serve it willingly, for what the Holy Spirit does with gifts you give your brother, to whom he offers them, and where and when is up to him. He will bestow them where they are received and welcome. He will use every one of them for peace. Nor will one little smile or willingness to overlook the tiniest mistake be lost to anyone. I like that sentence a lot.
Yeah.
And then moving on to number 9, sentence 2. Extension of forgiveness to me is non-judgment. Extension of non-judgment is the Holy Spirit's function. Leave this to him. Let my concern be only that I give to him that which can be extended. I don't know. I was just like, huh? I feel like I'm making too much out of it or something. I like. So I would just love to hear your take on that.
Yeah, I feel what he's saying here is basically our function is to see ourselves as not separate.
Okay.
And to see our brothers and sisters as an extension of ourselves, as opportunities for us to forgive within ourselves what we see in our brothers and sisters, since we are not separate.
So
And
if I find myself judging somebody, basically forgiveness is not judging. So if I'm judging somebody for something, really I'm judging myself, because you spotted, you got it. So if somebody's getting on my last nerve, then I probably have that characteristic too.
Yeah, or some form of the characteristic, or some form of a similar characteristic that would push you in the same way if you were able to see it within yourself. At least that's been my experience.
So my function is to forgive myself for
Yes.
judging them and judging myself. So that is my only function here, is to practice non-judgment. And it's so flipping difficult.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like, it's the basis of Ho'oponopono.
Right.
So when you're saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, you're saying, I'm sorry to yourself.
Mhm.
Forgive me to yourself. I'm sorry that whatever is within me is I'm seeing as this experience that you're having that appears to be challenging. I'm sorry that I have this within me. And, you know, I love you and thank you. It's just, that's forgiveness right there.
Mhm. My other question is, what if we just don't like somebody? I mean, it's like you can see the Christ light in them, but you don't want to go out to lunch with them. You don't want to hang out with them. I mean, I feel like with Jesus, he just loved everybody, and that's wonderful. But I don't like everybody. I'm an introvert and people get on my nerves. You know, I need my alone time. And
Yeah.
and with this group, it's such a loving group, and in this environment, when we're all trying to learn and grow, it feels so easy, you know. And then you get challenged by somebody that you just don't like them. I mean, for whatever reason, you just don't like them. But I'm willing to see the Christ light in them. But I feel like that's not good enough.
Well, I'm going to let Penelope speak, because I have a feeling that what she's going to have to say is going to help answer that. Go ahead, Penelope.
I can say one thing in response to what Leslie's saying about not like, you know, if you don't like someone. I can say one brief thing. I don't really want to kind of add much because I might get lost. I'm actually wanting to bring 2 things that's happened to me this morning and see then in relationship to what Leslie's saying, what it's mirroring back to me, because it's like kind of like, whoa. So Leslie, in answer to when you asked the question, you know, what if you don't like someone? My understanding is we don't necessarily have to like everybody's personality. So there's a difference between when we say we don't like somebody, we don't like them necessarily because we don't like their personality. And yes, it can reflect back. So it's like if I say I don't like somebody, aspects of their personality that I don't like in myself can be reflected back to me. But it can just be that it's just not a personality that you can relate to or whatever it might be. But ultimately you can still love them as a brother or sister, regardless of so that's how I understand that. Okay, so I've got 2 events happened this morning. I'm going to try and keep it brief because it's like it could just, you know, I could go on forever with this. First event this morning, I'm just trusting that some of the things people understand how it works in the UK, but I get a prescription because I'm diagnosed celiac, I get a prescription for certain products, which over time has greatly reduced. I only get predominantly bread on prescription. And originally it was at a reduced amount that I would pay. Now, because of my age, I actually get it free. And I've ever since I was diagnosed, so I'm going back 16 years, the prescription is put in just every 2 months. And because it works for me, and because over time I have had problems with the pharmacies that distribute the prescriptions. So it's just less hassle every couple of months. Now, I don't have freezer capacity to store that amount of bread. And so I'm reliant on dry storage. So I'm reliant on the pharmacy providing me with dates that can cover almost 2 months. And I've had problems in the past with dates. I've also been really super challenged since last year, where I placed the order online because I don't know when specifically it arrives at the pharmacy. The previous pharmacist used to just ring me and tell me. The new pharmacist doesn't. And our system, when I go to collect it, is you're queuing outside. Because of the COVID situation, you're literally queuing outside. And so I went up 3 occasions this past year. I've gone to collect it, only to discover it's been sent out on delivery. When I ask why it's been sent out on delivery, well, because you haven't picked it up and we're falling over it. And so I said, well, you're not letting me know it's there. Can you not let me know? So they asked for my mobile, my cell phone number. I give them the number and I ask them, can you text me? They've never texted me. So I'm talking 3-4 occasions. I've had it delivered recently, I think it was the last time, because you're still not picking it up. And I say, well, I've asked for it to be, to be informed. So this morning I rang up because the last prescription which I got was at the beginning of March. A lot of it was way out of date before the 2 months up period, but I just didn't want to get into any more hassles with them. And so I just kept it, and I've had to manage it. And through April, I've been eating out of date bread. So I rang them up this morning, having asked for the prescription again at the weekend. And the lady that I was speaking to got quite defensive very quickly and more or less said to me, what are you ringing up about? So I said, I'm asking if you could just consider the dates. And she got extremely defensive with me. And it kind of escalated. Unbeknown to me, she'd actually laid the phone aside and walked away, and I'm talking to no one. And then a man comes on the phone, and I said, I have never asked for it to be delivered. And he said, I asked for it to be delivered because you're leaving it 10 to 12 days and not picking it up. So I said, I think you're getting it confused with somebody else. I order it, and within days I pick it up, and I've asked repeatedly for text messages that you're not doing that. And the end of that call was, you either get your prescription changed or just take your prescription elsewhere. So that was the first one this morning. I then came off that call and thought, right, what can I do? And I then went online and discovered there's actually a customer service email address, etc., for these pharmacies. And so I've emailed them. I've sent photographs of the dates on bread that I've been. And so that was the first one. The second one was 2 years ago, we had our windows installed. The the actual installation took 6 months because they kept finding faults and flaws in the windows. They had to take them back, come back again. So altogether, it took 6 months. About a month ago, we couldn't open a window. I rang up, they said they'd ring me back. They didn't. I had to ring a few days later. Eventually spoke to somebody. They agreed to send somebody out. When the guy came, he said that he was coming, but it wasn't him that should be coming. The guy that was supposed to come was sick. He had no tools to repair the window. So I asked him if there's any way I could get the window open, because we rely on one of these upper windows for ventilation, because our house on the upper floors gets very hot. So he got the window open. So I was relieved that the window was open. He said, I'll order a new handle. And that was left at that. Yesterday, my husband was ringing them again, because this was like a month ago, still not being back to us. My husband rang, he kept having to ring. Eventually got somebody to ring him back. And somebody came this morning, and they've come, but they've just installed a totally different handle to any of the windows. And so I rang the company, because I said to my husband, it just doesn't seem right. You pay thousands of pounds for these windows, but it's kind of like the service isn't great, and the background to it isn't great, because the original company went into administration, and somebody that took it on legally, it had to be out of our area. So they're a good distance away from where we are, the company that took on the contract. And it meant that if we didn't go with them, we lost our deposit. So we were kind of in that scenario. Anyway, I spoke to somebody, and they got somebody to ring me back. And interestingly, he was doing exactly what this lady was doing this morning on this first call. They were coming back at me with, don't you get it how busy we are? Don't you get it what this year has been like? Don't you get it how busy all these? And so there was a lot of that with both these calls. And the guy on this second call was making reference to the fact that, you know, we didn't get any money from your installation, etc., because of the situation. I said, no, I said, that can't be true. I said, you know, it's like you agreed to take on that contract. The upshot of that was that he was saying to me that we're outside of the guarantee, the 2-year guarantee for movable parts. And at that point, I wasn't 100% certain whether I'd made the call before that guaranteed run out, thinking the date would be when the installation began. So I couldn't say anything because I wasn't 100% certain. The end of that call was that he was saying about how much work they've got now because people are spending money, because they're not going on holiday, they've got more money to spend. So they've got thousands of customers now, they've got to fulfill orders. And I literally at the end of the call was saying, well, you might as well just go and deal with your customers rather than talk to me about a handle then. And he put the phone down on me because basically they've supplied a handle, and his answer to me was, does the handle work? Yeah, well, that's it then. That's as far as that's it. And then since coming off that call, I asked my husband, I said, this isn't making sense with the guarantee, because I said, because we didn't pay for the windows till 6 months after the original installation began. It's looking like we're actually we've still got 6 months left of this guarantee. So my question really is based on what Leslie was asking. I'm aware that at the moment I've had a big insight from doing the Stop Playing Small retreat on that latter weekend about unworthiness. So I don't know if this is just reflecting back to me many of the kind of scenarios of unworthiness, or what else is it based on this text that we're reading and based on the questions, Leslie, you were asking. What is this reflecting back to me? Because I'd love to know, because what it feels like to me was, and I might be totally wrong, but I am making it, feels like I'm having to make a stand up almost with people that are almost bullying. And I might be way off. But I'm just wondering if anybody can just give some input based on this text, because I'd still like to keep these questions related to the text if possible. So thank you for listening to that long story.
Well, yeah, it definitely feels like there's a connection between the two events and the sense of unworthiness that you were talking about in Stop Playing Small. And I'm curious, since you brought in the bullying piece, the question that's coming to my mind is, how are you bullying yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Linda. I'm not aware of how I'm doing it, but this is something that I uncovered probably in the very early days of Master for Living with forgiveness work, that I recognized that the abuse that I'd experienced in various situations for many years, I had turned on myself. And I understand that it's quite a common thing to do. I'm not really sure at this point where am I bullying myself. I mean, yeah, one of the things that I wish I had done was check dates before I spoke to and had this second phone call. But I'm not, yeah, and I can look at that. So thanks for that.
Yeah, and it may not have to do with the actual incidents with the windows and the bread. It may be something else that you're bullying yourself about, or other ways that you're, you know, that the conversation is in your head. I should be doing this differently. I should have done it this way. I should be in a better place. Like whatever that kind of conversation is in your head, it may not have anything to do with the windows and the bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's interesting, Linda, when you just said that, because what I possibly, could be where I could be bullying myself, is on each of those calls, I'm beating myself up about how I handled it. And on the second call, it was clear. I actually put the call on speaker so my husband could hear it. And I recognized, because this guy was coming at me with so many different things, which in a sense to me felt irrelevant. It still had got nothing to do with providing a good customer service, no matter what the situation. And at one point I said to him, can we just pause for a moment and take a breath? Because it's clear that you are incredibly stressed. And even then, when I went to speak, he wouldn't even let me speak for a minute. I had to stop him and say, will you please let me finish what I'm saying? And there is an element of, how could I have handled that differently? Because when I've read this text, which unfortunately I've had to rush and read it, the thing that sticks out for me is, how could have I extended love to my brother and my sister in those two situations? And it's that I don't feel like I handled that well.
Yeah.
How could I have?
Yeah. Well, I feel like you were getting there in the part where you said, I feel like you're feeling very stressed. Can we just take a breath? I find it helpful when I'm counseling people and they're obviously distressed and in pain, just kind of mirroring back what I heard from them. You know, like, I know this year has been awful for so many people. And I can only imagine what you're going through with both with your business and in your personal life. And I'm so sorry that you're having a hard time with this right now. But I really want to come to a amicable solution where we can both be happy.
Yeah, and I did say, to both calls, I understand that people are very busy and we've all been through it,
Yeah.
but it didn't seem to, and maybe I just didn't say enough to kind of de-escalate the.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't, blaming yourself for it is not going to help. So maybe writing, I don't know, a forgiveness letter might be helpful, but I'm also feeling like if you write what happened and you write how you would have liked to have had it happen. Like you're talking to their higher self and you're speaking to them with the intention in mind that a loving exchange is happening for both of you. You know, just how you would have liked to have felt. And, but get out, before you do that, get out on paper, you know, what happened, how you felt about it, you know, the anger, the fear, the sadness, all of that, that you felt on paper first, and then write another paper exactly how you would have liked to have seen it go and how you would like to have felt and how you would have liked for the other people that you were talking to have felt as well as supported. And I know that there's probably a lot of stress with people, because I know a lot of people are not going back to work if they were put on, like here in the States, if they were on unemployment, they're not going back to work because they're getting paid unemployment and they're taking the opportunity to do other things until their unemployment runs out. And so there are a lot of businesses, small businesses, trying to come back that are having a hard time hiring people. So I'm sure that there's something similar that probably is going on in the UK as well. Yeah. So yeah, just know that you did not do anything wrong, and that there is absolutely some kind of learning opportunity for you in this, even if it's just to, you know, lick your wounds, take a hot bath with a nice cup of tea and, you know, and have a good cry. You know, that might be all this was for.
Yeah. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. All right, so we have Linda, Kathy, and Carol, and then Nancy Gale.
Wow.
So Linda first.
Oh, we're stacked up. So I was thinking about when Leslie was talking, you know, the Course takes no stand on reincarnation. Is reincarnation true? Well, if it's useful, use it, the concept. If it's not, let it go, whatever. I do believe in this evolutionary cycle of birth and death. I think that plays in here. And I know that when I get with certain personalities, and this can be fleeting, you know, in the moment, or acquaintanceships, or, and if I get that immediate, I don't like them, they don't feel trustworthy, or whatever it is, you know, I trust that. And I believe that we probably met in some other lifetime. And maybe, you know, I was the victim or they were the victim, or and vice versa. We could switch, you know, victimizer roles, or, you know, that sort of thing. So I just kind of trust the nudge of that. And I don't overanalyze that, oh, I could just step back in and restage, you know, the stand-in here and just replay something, or be finished and go on about my peaceful life. And again, always mindful of level 1, level 2. On the level of content, in the eternal always of heaven, we are one. And I can still honor that within that person as well, right? But on the level of form, we're not having coffee. I'm not inviting you over. You know, so I don't like put a lot of intellectual or emotional or spiritual investment beyond that. That's how that works for me. And you know, I'm thinking about difficult, like business arrangements or commerce or things out in Psychoplanet in the dream that we have to deal with on the level of form. You know, I think about Above the Battleground, you know, that reading for me, as well as, well, of course they're doing that. You know, I don't really internalize it because all the world is built around, the Course tells me anyway, pushing guilt out, right? Making it about you. And I know that because I do it too. Not as much as I used to, but that's the way I live. So if people are not on the same path of course they're doing that. That's what we're all doing to try to feel better. And I certainly don't need to internalize that. I do see it as a call for love, and maybe a call for help. And maybe I need to do something, or maybe, and more often than not, I need to do nothing and look past that. But also exercise, put my big girl pants on and do the work of, I paid for this service or whatever in the most loving way possible. But I really detach and do it in the most loving way. And I love what you said, Linda. I'm all about how can we both get what we want? I say that all the time, whether it's with my children or how can we both come out of this getting what we both need. So, and sometimes it's possible. So those are my thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you, Linda. Kathy.
Yeah, I love, so many things came up, Penelope and Leslie. I mean, even in this text, but my first thought was, I went right back to the page in one of Jennifer's mastery journals about release and clear, because I thought, as you listen to the story and you're going, okay, what is mine to do here? And a couple things, but I went to the release and clear because it's like sometimes our ego just cannot accept people. It can be helpful to say, I accept that they are unacceptable to me at this time, as a way of not fighting with the ego. So there's much sometimes that we have to release. There's much that we need to even forgive about in ourselves. And usually the forgiveness is all about what's going on inside of us, because we have attachments. We want a result. And so the release and clear kind of helped me to get there. Even in this text, it's like, it is about forgiveness on every level. And sometimes the only way I can get to forgiveness is to just completely surrender. Okay, what is life trying to show me? Because I'm fighting now, and I don't want to be fighting, whether it's with myself or this other person. So how can I breathe and let it go? And I know, I agree, Lynn, the forgiveness work is the first thing I think of is if I'm upset, I got to forgive here. I got to get to forgiveness as best and as quick as I can. So that's my number one thing. And of course, this text is talking about that. That is our release. That is our freedom. If we can get to forgiveness about whatever without calling ourselves wrong or bad. We have had a misstep, a mistake in life. And I'm going to breathe and I'm going to choose again. I'm going to see this differently. And this is a journey, you guys. This is a journey. Here we are to think, accept, choose again, forgive ourselves. I think this whole thing is about learning to forgive ourselves and to pray before I have those conversations, to pray for the highest and best, for words that need to come out of me, to breathe, to stop. I love it when Jennifer just stops for a moment and thinks, what is mine to say? Because I'm not the best at that. So praying first when I'm going into a difficult situation, to pray that I have clarity and that the right and perfect words escape my being. It's like, so that's my thought on this, and if that helps us, then so be it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. Penelope, did you want to give any feedback on what you've heard so far before we move to Carol? You don't have to, but.
No, it's interesting actually, Linda, because yeah, and I mean, for one, the first phone call, I didn't expect it to turn into a difficult phone call. And yes, on both calls, I just didn't think to partner up first before I made the calls. And of course, it's easy to say in hindsight. And based on, you know, what Catherine was just saying, I mean, I absolutely get that, you know, this thing about we have to forgive everything. And sometimes it takes me just a little while to step back from it and just look at it and see where I need to do the forgiveness work. And that is, as I mean, you know, I've spoken about this many times in this group, forgiveness work is my go-to tool. I think, I guess it just, everything feels very overwhelming at the moment because I'm already going through some other stuff as well. So kind of like this feels like even more overwhelming on top of what I'm already at. So it just feels a lot. And I just want to be able to heal whatever this is about, whether it's about what the other stuff is about, and whether there's connections to it, or whether this is something different. Just really want to heal this stuff now. So yeah, I'm willing to do the work. But yeah, thank you everyone.
Yeah. And I just wanted to point out too, that it absolutely is speaking to the text, because as he says at the end of paragraph 9, be not concerned with darkness, look away from it and towards each other, and let the darkness be dispelled by him who knows the light and lays it gently in each quiet smile of faith and confidence with which you bless each other. And it reminded me of the, you know, the thing about the sunflowers, that when it's not sunny, that the sunflowers turn to each other. And I feel like that's what you're doing, that you're reaching out. And this is something I know that you've been working on as well. And so I'm so grateful that you're bringing the darkness to the light, and allowing us to hold you and support you in this way. So thank you. Carol.
Well, Kathy, you said it so beautifully. I partner up almost every time I have to get on the phone with people I do not know. It doesn't even matter if it's not a pleasant situation, or it is, that it's not something threatening. I ask that my words be God's words, you know, be the Spirit's words, that I not speak, but that Spirit speaks through me. And then never mind how the call goes. It depends on, well, not never mind, but if it goes in a way that upsets me in any way afterwards, you know, when I think back on it and think about, oh, could I have said differently? What else could I have done? Or whatever like that. Then I go to, I must have chosen wrongly. If I'm not comfortable, if I'm not at peace, I go to that part of the course. If I chose wrongly, and I must have because I am not at peace, then I ask Spirit to undo the consequences of that conversation, of my wrong choice, even though I may have prayed that my words be God's words. I mean, I don't know how perfect I am always behaving in every situation, even when I pray for those things. You know, sometimes ego will just jump right in, and so that's how I can release myself. I don't have to go necessarily to a forgiveness letter, but if I immediately am aware, okay, I could have handled that differently. I could have said something differently. Perhaps it was not received the way I meant it. Then I do go and speak those words from the course and ask Spirit to undo the consequences of my wrong or unloving choice, and really not to beat ourselves up. That's not the point. But also, Penelope, I truly believe you are going through tremendous healing. I know it seems piled on right now, but this seems to me, when it looks the worst, I trust that it's the best. The best is coming. The best is happening the highest of God is being done in your life, because your willingness is so wonderful, is so precious to God and to us, your sisters. It is a wonderful thing. Do not think you're going through something terrible and it won't end. That's not true. But it does have to resolve. It does have to go to whatever place it needs to go to for your understanding, for your emotional health. And it will resolve itself. It truly will. Continue being willing, and you will come out of this. I trust that you are in the midst of it. And I know it feels not good, but it truly is. It truly is. So I will pray for you, and I hope we all can truly keep you in prayer when we see you, think about you, and realize you are going through wonderful, miraculous, big, big healing in your life. And it's a good thing. It's all good. So we love you. We're right with you. We support you.
Well, Carol, thank you so much. Nancy Gill, and then Leslie.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for that, Carol. That I'm applying it to myself. I hope you don't mind, Penny. I'm sharing your whole thing. When you first spoke, my first thought that came to me was I had a similar experience when a few years back, management changed at where I worked, and I just was the new person was. It was, I think it was a Friday night, and this new supervisor, it was late in the evening, and he was the one that went, and I had something to say, but he was the one, and he was the only one that was there. And usually everybody listened to what I said, because they were like, this is we're not the way we're in a people business. Oh, that's the company, that's nonprofit, people business, children and adults and then the whole bit. And there's a way you treat people when you're in a service organization, stuff like that. And I had something to say about certain things, right? So I went, and it's like, he was the only one that was there. And it was like, oh, this is a new person, I don't know. So I said, this is how the philosophy of this company, he's new there. I said, this is the philosophy of our company and the way we do things and stuff like that. That's not the way I said it. Anyways, he was, everybody else, it's always listen to what I said, because, it was always, and I didn't say much, but there were times when I spoke about things, and they always listened to me. So that's what I, expected. And it's like, oh no, he starts arguing and giving me these stupid, ridiculous examples from, he was in a different business company type, serving things, but it's like things, not the people. And he tried to apply that, and I said, and so it's like, I said, what the heck is this? And it's like, so I'm thinking, it's like, I'm wrong, you're wrong. So the next day, I went into the boss, and I told him, I explained it to him, and he said, what is the, give me one word. Can you pick one word that you felt about the situation? And I said, I don't know. He said, how about dismissive? I said, yeah, that's it. It was like, what I had to say was always trying to, this is for the company, this is how we be, I said, yeah. And that's the first word when you start talking, Penelope, that is what the word came right there. I said, exactly. Same thing happened to me. It's like, I wasn't attacking him. I was educate him, or, you know, it's like, this is the way, this is the experience, and this is the way we usually, and that's the word that came to me. And then of course, immediately I did the same thing. It's like, I could have said it different. What I did, you know, it's like, cause I'm not, you know, but then it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because he was the way he was. It didn't matter who was sitting there, what they were saying to him. And yet I took it as, you know, the little person, you know, wrong again. It's like, I shouldn't speak up. So anyways, that's what I have to say. Sorry.
Yeah. Thanks, Nancy Gail. I mean,
But
yeah,
always
internalizing it is not
internalizing it. It's like, yeah, instead of, yeah. I mean, that's the way I grew up. So, I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah.
All right.
Just being willing to learn the lessons.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie, did you still want to share?
And not taking things personal is a huge lesson for us all to learn. I mean, I feel like I have that lesson down pat, and then something comes up and I forget and I take it personally. Penelope, I just want to tell you, the first time I ever read your name, and I said it to my mom, and I said, "Oh, Penelope." And she's like, and this was an actress on screen. She's like, "Penelope? You mean Penelope?" I'm like, "Oh, is that how you say that?" So I have a little laugh when I say your name sometimes, but, and I don't know if this will be helpful or not, but first of all, thank you, everybody. What great shares today. I really, wow, really, really good stuff here. Lots of things for me to chew on when I'm feeling myself triggered by somebody's personality. Very, very helpful. I was just thinking, Penelope, that a big thing in my life is 100% responsibility, and peace is the most important thing to me. And I don't know how much the door handle cost, but if it wasn't, let's just say it's I don't know pounds and dollars, so I'm just going to say 100 pounds. Let's say it was $100 or 100 pounds and I could afford it, then it might be worth it to me just to go buy the handle I want. Even though it's not fair, even though it's under warranty, it's like my peace of mind. You cannot put a price tag on my peace of mind. I just can't. It's so important to me, and that's just what came to me. And again, it might not be an option. Maybe the company, I mean, there's so many details I don't know and I don't need to know, but, and as far as the bread goes, I'm not sure, but that's just the question I often ask myself is, how can I 100% responsible here? What, because I never want to feel like a victim. It's like, what can I do here? What is mine to do? How can I fix the problem? And of course, like everybody says, partner up, partner up, partner up. So, but I love you so much, and I'm sorry that you have had a few hard phone calls. I know that's never easy. It tug. And before I forget, Debbie, if you're listening, we're all still thinking about you, and we love you very much, and we pray that you're healing and that you're surrounded by kind nurses and competent doctors, and hopefully you're home by now. Okay, that's it. I'm done.
I was just thinking that same thing a little bit ago about Deborah, how she's doing. Penelope, did you want to respond to what Leslie said before we move on?
Yeah, just really quickly, Leslie, thank you for that. And absolutely, I mean, that's one of the things I endeavour to work with is 100% responsibility. And that's why I'm willing to put this, you know, bring this to the group, because I'm just so interested in seeing what is the learning for me in this, because I'm so interested in learning and being a pure demonstration of love, and also just being able to extend in that loving way. And I know I'm not there yet, and I'm just so interested in healing this. Thanks for the little thing about my name, because just to also reassure you, it's actually, as far as I'm aware, the Greek pronunciation. So there you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, 100% responsibility, 0% guilt. Tammy, welcome. What would you like to share? Can you unmute yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Oh, I love this chapter 22. I don't know, for some reason, what I was going through, this just digging into self-forgiveness and healing, it just made a lot of sense to me, like reading it. And I mean, sometimes I felt the same way, like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to love this person? How am I supposed to how am I supposed to love this person? Like, not that I hate them, but I don't want to hang out, you know? But then, I don't know, I feel like it's okay to sort of love from far. I don't know if that makes much sense. But chapter 9, I really, really, really loved it. Is it okay if I read it? Okay. What can it be but universal blessing to look on what your fathers love with charity? Extension of forgiveness is the Holy Spirit's function. Live this to him. Let your concern be only that you give to him that which can be extended. Save no dark secret that he cannot use, but offer him the tiny gifts he can extend forever. He will take each one and make it into a potent force of peace. He will withhold no blessing from it, nor limit it in any way. He will join to it all the power that God has given him to make each little gift of love a source of healing for everyone. Each little gift you offer to your brother lights up the world. Be not concerned with darkness. Look away from it and towards your brother, and let the darkness be dispelled in him who knows the light, and lay it gently in each smile of faith and confidence with which you bless your brother. And line 4 to around 8, like when I read that, it made me feel good in a way, because I'm like, okay, if I give this up, it's not only going to help me, but it's going to help other people, and it's going to make me see the world in a better place. It will, and that kind of made me so excited to like search within and just find every little thing that is hiding and just offer it up, because that's what I want to do. Like, I want to be able to allow other people to heal as well. Right. And it seems to me what I was reading was, when I heal and I offer these things up, all these attachments, God turns it and just give it this big set of love. And that can help somebody else. Right. So that made me really feel good. And yeah, that was my little part. I just love it. So that's my share. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tammy. I know it really is. He's telling us, I can take anything, any experience that you have had and use it for good, use it for a healing purpose. So yeah, that sometimes when we're in the middle of it, it's hard to even imagine that that's possible, but that's what it's all about right there. Thank you. Robin, and then Carla, go ahead.
Well, I'll just read the last sentence, paragraph 15. Let truth decide if you and your brother be different or the same, and teach you which is true. And I think for all of us, we're in this place that we are yearning for oneness, and that we are desiring not to see the difference. And we, in the form, there's all kinds of differences. There's the personality, there's the looks, there's just, all these things. And I think our practice or our stepping forward is remembering that we are the same, and not that we have to hang out, but that, and we can see beyond the differences. And so there's that idea. The other idea for me is it's never about the situation, the story, or the person. It's never about that, because that's just characters and it's part of the illusion. And what truly matters is remembering when we can to take that breath and maybe just let the person go on and on and on, and just keep your breath going and waiting to see. And, you know, sometimes I know what to say and sometimes I don't, but there's this lovely idea of we don't have to speak and go back and forth with the tug of war, trying to get someone to see our side. And so the prayer before going into, just maybe in the moment, I'm gonna go to my husband, and I don't pray that often in those situations, unless I feel like, all right, now how do I do this with him? But this prayer, actually he's a good guy, and yeah, I'm the problem. He's really the neat person. But it's not seeing that it's not anything that we are framing. It's not about that. What it's about is coming to it and serving the light. And that's the goal and the aim. How do I serve the light when I'm calling up about this stuff I don't even want to deal with, because it's not going to be fun, but then trying to put a more positive slant before going in. And then I guess it's for Penelope. Penelope, you know how dear you are to me, but all of us, and is that when these things happen, when we can take that breath and come back and center, to have full compassion and love for ourselves, because that's what it's all about, is using these times that we make a mistake, and then we get upset with ourselves. That just happened to me yesterday, and I really got into it. And then it's a process, and I brought myself back. But so I'll just leave it with finding that quiet place and resting in God. You don't have to do anything. Just find that quiet place and rest in God, and you'll be okay.
Oh, thank you, Robin. And that just brings me back to the bathtub with a nice cup of tea. Carla.
This little reading didn't resonate with me. I was kind of waiting. I was kind of not waiting, but to be shown, to kind of feel something to share. So this is what I heard. So oftentimes, Robin, you got it. I think it was very accurate with what you said. It's not the details of this situation. It's not what is actually happening in what we see, because we don't know what we're not, and this came to me, we're not upset for the reason we think. You know, if we don't resonate with someone or don't care for them, it may not be for why we think. So, and I knew at some point when I was doing the lessons, and I got like to lesson 2 or 3, actually lesson 2, it says nothing I see means anything. Why? Because I have lesson 2, I have given everything the meaning already. So how can that be true? And then 3 is I don't understand. okay. And I've discovered this. When I don't want to do something, when I'm feeling resistant or feeling, I gotta do this, I bring the energy into that experience. We're creators. God created us in his image, not because God has 10 fingers and a nose and 2 eyes, because we are creators. We're creating every moment. And so to notice what's going on within, and then what I want to create from. And so noticing how you move into any situation, what you're creating, what your place you're coming from, because you have to do it or because you're willing to bring the light into the situation, and I don't know who said it. I think it's be kind, because everyone is fighting a hard battle. Everyone you meet is fighting hard, and it's not everyone you meet. We're fighting a hard battle. So it comes out in if it's within us, it comes out in every situation. So be kind. Be kind. That's everything. Thanks.
Thank you, Carla. This hour went so quickly. I couldn't believe I looked up and it was already after 1. So next week we are going into chapter 23, the war against yourself. So how perfect is that? The war against yourself. And we'll just read that first section. I don't know if that's the introduction or if that's actually the first section. Up until we get to the irreconcilable belief. So just the first part, there's, let's see, 6 paragraphs, the first 6 paragraphs of the war against yourself. So, and I'm going to read the insights from Pathways of Light workbook lesson 131 is what I'm working on right now. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. Jesus is very encouraging in this lesson. He encourages me to seek, to reach the truth. He encourages me to not give up. He tells me I cannot fail. He gives me a very helpful bridge, a process that helps me take baby steps towards opening my mind to the truth. He helps me see the senselessness of the world I think is real. He reminds me where true value lies. He reminds me that I am still in heaven where God created me, and that I cannot really change that. He reminds me that I am only dreaming a dream of being separate from God, from heaven, and that this dream is not what I really want. He encourages me to seek for heaven, for the truth is that we are all still extensions of God, and we have not changed that reality. He encourages me to sink below the images I normally fill my mind with to the truth. He tells me I cannot fail, and invites me to open the door to a world of light where nothing has changed, and I am one with all that is, which is love or God. He helps me feel God's strength. He helps me be aware of the safety and stability and love, peace, and joy which lie in my true nature. He reminds me that this alone is true. He encourages me to rest in this truth often. He knows that as I continue to do this and open to the truth more and more, that it will be the only thing I want. It will be my only goal. He knows that as my awareness of love's eternal presence grows, the images of the world of separation will be laid down willingly and gladly in favor of God's world, the real world. Jesus knows that these steps are taken little by little. His goal is to help us all increase our willingness to seek and find the truth. Today, I move one step closer as I practice opening the door and allowing it to swing open with my one intent, Jesus knows that the rest will take care of itself as I continue this practice, because no one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. This is the best time of my life. I no longer get involved in many of the things that I used to do that did not contribute to my awakening, but rather served as distractions and delays. Yet, at the beginning of this exercise, I was shown that there are plenty of delays or details in my thinking that still serve to distract me from the seeing of the truth, the real world. I saw how my judgments keep my attention on meaningless images that make separation appear real. When I can step back from them, many of these judgments are laughable. I have ideas about how things should be done and disapprove when they are not done that way, whether by me or someone else. When I look at these rules I have made up with the help of spirit, I see their total meaninglessness. These judgments keep my attention on form to the exclusion of content. As I remember to practice asking, what is this for? I often quickly see there is no value in the judgment. There is no real gain in doing it the way I think it should be done, rather than the way it actually was done. The more I can let these judgments go, the more I move past giving form importance. My mind opens to seeing the light of truth that is behind every form. My life becomes more peaceful and happy. The truth is what I really want. Holy Spirit, help me to realize the meaningless and pass it by. As I do this, the ever-present truth will be revealed because I will cease to deny it. I am grateful for these exercises which help me let go of the denial and receive the truth. Thank you, everybody. What a beautiful call. Love you, Penelope.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Linda. Love you all. Love you,
Thank
Linda.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And love
Thank
to
you,
you,
everyone.
Deborah. Hope you're home recovering well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blessings, everyone.
Yeah.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.